edition of Healthy Living. I'm Aisha Salihu. It's a special edition of the program that has been dedicated to commemorate the Armed Forces Remembrance Day every 15th January, a day that has been set aside to mark the sacrifices of the servicemen of the Nigerian Armed Forces, both living and those who have paid the ultimate price. On this edition, we would establish the state of access to healthcare and, of course, the facilities made available by the Nigerian Armed Forces to the veterans and the legionnaires. Defense Health Maintenance Limited, a corporate entity owned by the Ministry of Defense and the Nigerian Armed Forces, is a health maintenance organization established in response to the challenges of providing access to quality healthcare services for all eligible military personnel, serving and retired, and their families. The organization's objective is to ensure that all enrollees get comprehensive, high-quality healthcare through regular disbursement of funds and materials to the healthcare providers and monitoring the standards of healthcare delivery regularly.
When I retired from the army, there was no healthcare. In fact, when I was serving in the army, the healthcare is like 40-60. Okay? As a serving soldier, there are things that you pay for. As a serving soldier in the Nigerian military, there are things that you pay for healthcare. And you'll be shocked. So those were the things that started to throw the red flag for me to say, you have to leave this job, you know. And coming out, as the investment in medical was dying off, that was how other care was dying off. The army used to be fed. There's something they call mess pan. They used to carry to take food in the military, in the barracks. So for the medical, when we came out, we saw a lot of disgruntled groups, veteran groups, but there was no cohesion. There was no leadership. So I met someone, his name is Duro Waye Abat, you know. He made me to believe that the retired member of Nigerian Forces was working towards that. And I joined up. And really, in that group, there was discipline. And that group started to take leadership. I think it's one of the first groups that got recognized, got registered, and is the only group that you will see both non-commissioned and commissioned officer sitting together to have meetings. You know, and we started to build state chapters. So that was where the pressure came from. And before we know it, we heard that there was defense health. And everybody was like, okay. And they started to say, go and register for defense health, and they will give you a primary hospital. So I went to Ikoyi in Lagos. I registered, and I was given a primary hospital, Federal Medical Center. So that was where I took my family to.
We are actually under the Defense Health Management Limited.
Although leadership of the retired members of the Nigerian Armed Forces, who are representatives of the coalition of concerned veterans, expressed disappointment at the healthcare scheme put in place by the Health Maintenance Organization, while demanding for an adequate and all-encompassing structure.
And when we started to assess care, I saw a lot of funny things, like the number of treatments you can get for the different types of ailments. And if you really capture the kind of ailments that will affect someone that have served in the military, you know, even if it's 5 years, okay, look at what's happening in Nigeria now. Imagine staying in a front line in Borno or somewhere for 5 years. You know, the kind of water you will drink, it will definitely affect your kidneys and all that. You know, arthritis, you know, other hazards, your eyes. And the medical does not capture that. We have said this thing times without number. They give you a bed, they give you food, then you start to pay for drugs. If you are going for like 2 or 3 eye drops, like for me now, they will say they have one. but you need to pay for this one, you need to pay for this one. And the clinic, the center where you buy the drug, it's inside the military hospital. They'll say, go to that place and pay for it. So you take your prescription there and they will say which one, they tick the one you have, the rest you have to pay for. You know, so most times when I'm in Nigeria, and I go to access care, I'll just wait where I pay for drugs. And you will see some veterans, even to hold the paper in his hand, seeing the amount, he's already shaking. And you say, Oga, what happened now? He will say, he won't pay for these drugs. The trauma that he's in charge of his care with a higher percentage than the government he served. It's enough, okay? And I have to stay there and pay for like 1 or 2 people. Sometimes I spend close to 100K. I'll say, Daddy, I was in the army too. You say, hey, you know, I'm the Remembrance National. I say, yes, he's a member of Remembrance. I say, I know. Don't worry, bring the prescription. And the shaking will just die away. So you see that trauma kills veterans more than actual sicknesses and diseases. That's why we say, try to give them that assurance. Then, like, I treat my eyes, okay? I lost my right eye during service. So I will go for my glasses. When it starts to wane out, you pay a percentage for the lens. Then the frame, you have to get your frame, or they will be showing you frames. This is how much, this is how much. So there was a man I saw, he said, should he just carry it in his hand and go somewhere to go and buy frame? I said, you better bring that frame here because you may broke the lens somewhere and don't get it right. You know, so it's like you are going to get care from a careless point.
So, but unfortunately, it is not capturing every bit of ailments. And of course, you know, for military retirees, in the course of their active service, they are exposed to dangers. And what is being offered is not adequate enough to take care of all the challenges. Like if you have an issue of surgery, the NHIS doesn't cover it, okay? And these are people who had, you know, put in all their best to serve this nation. And so the health scheme should actually cover 100%.
Meanwhile, the Defense Health Maintenance Limited says minimum quality health services delivery standards set by National Health Insurance Scheme are met by all hospitals on its network of healthcare providers. It achieves this through pre-contractual hospital inspections, due diligence visits, scheduled monitoring and evaluation visits, as well as unscheduled spot check visits. It also utilizes quality improvement tools, methodology, and techniques to ensure continuous improvement in the quality of care.
There was a man, we call him Oga Onufe. He's retired from the Navy, you know. I've forgotten his real rank, you know. He's one of the ESCO, the senior BOT of this Remembrance. The people that started it, he got sick. I went to see him. I heard his voice. Roy, come and see me. A vibrant naval officer. I thought he's in one civilian hospital. He's in naval hospital in Lagos. And we are looking for money to pay for some of the treatment while they see him dying. He can't even urinate. There was a tube for urination. A naval officer. In a Navy hospital. I took picture with him. I sent it to the group and people started to contribute money. At the end of the day, we went to bury him. We went for his burial. And the Navy was there for his burial, carrying the corpse in their white. You know, this is a charade. That's why I said the insult of this scam event of Armed Forces Remembrance should be scrapped. You know, in Armed Forces Remembrance Day, you should call veterans. They are saying, I was sick, but the army took care of me. You should call the veteran children to say, I am in XYZ University. The army is sponsoring me because my dad is a veteran. You should call the wives to say, I was given a grant to start this supermarket, to take care of myself, because my husband died in Liberia, or he died in Borno State, front line. He was blown up by IED explosive. He can't walk. And I was giving money. My son is in the school. We are paying 20% scholarship. He's reading medicine. You know, the armed forces, remember, they should be saying things like that. People that have gotten medical challenges should come out and be the ones on the parade saying we are well cared for. Then you will see soldiers that are fighting this Boko Haram right now in their village, doing viral video that he went home to treat himself. What a country. What a mess.
In 2015, during the administration of Air Vice Marshal M.R. Dabo at the Military Pensions Board, I was privileged to have gone, to have covered all the 6 regions of this country. We had a partnership with the Military Pensions Board that took us to our members who are sick, both at home or in the hospital. So that partnership actually encouraged those of them that are, in that state of health, at least realizing that they are being remembered. But I tell you, the feedback we get from them is so emotional. Many of them could not believe that a scheme or a partnership can actually come, that will make us to come down to their level, visit them in every nook and crannies of this country. We did that, and we don't just visit. We give them cash donations, we give them provisions and all that. So I want to sincerely appreciate the former chairman of Military Pension Board, AVM M.R. Dabo, because he happened to be the only chairman of Pension Board that believed in what the idea our association sold to him. Don't forget, we are not the only veteran association, but to tell you how how closely related and how our partnership with the pension board, the leadership of the pension board worked at that time. Even in his handing over speech, our organization was the only organization that was mentioned, black and white, when he was handing over to his successor. That our association had really worked hard to touch the lives of our members who are medically challenged. You could see the emotion they expressed. Some on wheelchair, someone, bedridden, tears falling from their eyes, that they never believed that government could even remember them. This was a partnership scheme that we brought in, the retired members of Nigerian Armed Forces, Rememberance, brought in, and has changed the lives of these veterans.
Whatever defense health can get from NHIS, National Health Insurance, if you want to impute the trickling effects of poor care, is it not demoralizing the troops? If I'm in fighting front now and I have access to be criminal, I would be. Why? I want to take care of myself. If I see things that will affect my health, it will compromise my performance, because I will say, man, anything happen to me, I'm on my own. Look at my dad, and incidentally, Obasanjo's son is in the military now. So many of the senior officers, you will hear that 2 or 3 of their children are in the military. So if the veterans have children in the military, so do the ones in the military need any story again than the story of their parents? What's happening? Then you buy Tucano, you buy all the armored vehicle from China. Who will use them? Are they motivated enough to give it excellent performance? It's going to be a round circle of abuse and irresponsibility.
The claims of DHML, however, are that high standard of healthcare service is assured, as healthcare facilities within the DHML network are made to provide health services that is effective, efficient, timely, patient-centered, and ultimately safe. Among other demands by the leadership of the retired members of the Nigerian Armed Forces is a review of medically boarded personnel who lack access to means of survival.
My own concern is this. If I am medically boarded, that means I have medical conditions. That's why I was retired. So if I have medical conditions and that's why I was retired, that means the medical conditions were got in active service. Not maybe I absconded to my village and one Okada jammed me or something. So if I was not dismissed with medical condition, then I was actually in active service. So if I'm in active service, what is your business with my pay? Because I'm now restrained from exercising physically to feed myself. Those that came out in full-fledged health, they can do one or two things. But if I am medically boarded, I'm already a baby of the government. See, if you travel out, go abroad, a bus will stop, everybody waits. There are people on wheelchair. They press a button, the wheelchair goes round, they are on stipends, survival stipends. They enter first, they disembark first. You know, you go to the airport, you hear that veterans should board. You hear that, okay, after veterans, you hear elderly should board. Who do we value in this country if we don't value the fighting troops? In this our menace, in this our embroglio, in this our... You see, we are practicing political terrorism. Every politician must be violent, must have boys that can break everywhere, or else he will not be recognized. So those ones that have political terrorism activities, they are the ones they call godfathers. They are the ones that instill, they are kingmakers. Is that how we will go? Or we are looking of professionalism, intelligence, integrity? Is that how we will go?
We have said it time and again. There is nothing too much to give a man who laid his life and as a result has become useless to himself. He cannot gain any employment because of one form of disability or the other. There's nothing too much to give to this set of people. Yeah, the pension board claimed that there was some system glitch. Okay, that was the language. There was a system glitch that shot them higher than what had actually been recommended for them to receive every month. And so when the new chairman took over office, they discovered that there are complaints of short payment, and that was what brought about the knowledge of this set of people that the policy affected. And so in the course of the IT consultants who came to readjust those that were being short paid, it was discovered that there are not only being short paid, there are those that are being overpaid, which are this medically boarded. But even at that, for crying out loud, what they were taking home at that time was even inadequate. So for those category of people who had already been enjoying that particular amount of monthly pension, and it is reviewed downwards, and the rate of inflation in the country today, how do you expect them to feel? We felt for them and we pleaded that the chairman should please find a way of, addressing this issue. Tell those in higher authorities to please find a way of reversing the policy. And in fact, I recommended to him that in the interim, while this is being addressed, the partnership that existed between our organization and his predecessor, AVM MRW, should be brought on board again. So that at least if we identify them wherever they are, we go to them, emotionally they will feel a sense of belonging, But then, as we speak, that has not been done yet, but we are still talking to him to see how he can reintroduce that scheme or partnership, as it were.
If you are creating a healthcare system It's supposed to be 100% because every soldier gave you his 100%. If there is any noise there now, once you are running this way, even as we are not armed, we will try to see, observe, and call for backup. If it's something that we can deal with without being armed, because we are trained in unarmed combat, we will still address it with your weapon and everything. We can bring you down. It's in the spirit. You may see the guy calm, but when it is time, something comes up in him. That's the training, that is the discipline Nigerian army has. You can't get it anywhere in the world. In the world. Go anywhere and see how they rate Nigerian army. Once they come back here, they take the cloak of abuse. Now, if you are doing a healthcare system, give me 100% if I give you 100%. So my wife, my children I'm not supposed to even know if my child is sick, because it will affect my performance. I'm supposed to come back home, last week, this guy, he could not stand though. Really? They came to carry us and all that. You know, a veteran in Lagos was calling for people to help carry him to, because ambulance is not there. So they are carrying him to the hospital, carrying him back. He will pay for that one from the stipend. Some veterans get like 30,000 naira as pension. So if he's paying rent from there, training his children, so many veterans did not get children on time because they are in crisis zones. Then they now come back and say, okay, they are getting mature. Then what health system we cover those children that are malnourished? They are not well taken care of. There's mosquito in the house. And the man is just somewhere drinking. He's frustrated, he's depressed, he's confused, he's with high blood pressure and all kinds of things. His brain is running amok.
The Chief of Army Staff, Farouk Yahaya, on the occasion of the 2022 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration, restated commitment to ensuring comprehensive medical treatment to wounded officers and soldiers of the armed forces, while felicitating with officers, soldiers, and their families. He said many of the veterans regrettably sustained varying degrees of injuries in the course of their service to the nation and humanity, stressing that care for the injured and maimed personnel would remain a cardinal focus under his command. On that note, we have come to the end of this edition dedicated to the commemoration of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Until I come your way on another edition of the program, I'm Aisha Salihu.